So Anthony Joshua just made his comeback fight, and I don't think anyone was expecting it to be this entertaining. For those of you that didn't know, at the end of 2025, Anthony Joshua was in a horrific car accident during his visit to Nigeria, which resulted in the deaths of 2 other people in the car with him who are later identified as close friends of his. Joshua was taken out of the vehicle and was treated for injuries which were classed as non-life-threatening. He made his first public video in January of 2026 paying tribute to his friends who died in the car accident, and it was clear that he had a lot going on. The public wasn't sure if he would fight again, but just 6 months later he would have his comeback fight with Christian Prenga at Saudi Arabia. As much as I have respect for Anthony Joshua for being able to come back from what's probably the worst year of his life, this fight showed some very worrying signs in Anthony Joshua. Before we begin, if you like this kind of content, then be sure to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. Joshua managed to knock Christian Prenga out in 2 rounds. So why was his performance worrying? Well, to start, Prenga is nowhere near world level. He's ranked 52 in the world, and it's clear that this fight was meant to be a tune-up fight for Joshua to prepare for something bigger down the line. Joshua's team was probably hoping he would get in there, make quick work of Prenga before calling out whoever's next, but Prenga almost flipped the script. Within the first 20 seconds of the first round, Prenga managed to land an uppercut from close range, and it was like Joshua's lights just switched off for a second. He went down and managed to get back up on his feet, but it was clear that his sense of balance and timing were completely off. He would get knocked down again later on in the round, and it was seeming like Joshua was finished. Joshua seemed to have recovered going into the second round and would manage to find a right hand which rocked Prenga. From there, Prenga seemed rocked on the ropes and Joshua came in to finish him off. To be fair to Joshua, Prenga does have a 100% knockout rate, so he definitely does have power, but this is against journeymen and prospects. He has no notable names on his resume. With Joshua's performance, it's clear he still has power because power is the last thing to go, but his chin may be non-existent. He's been in plenty of wars in his career, and at 36 years old, I don't think there's much left to him. It's clear that he's on his way out, so he'll probably be looking to make the biggest fight possible with the most financial gain. He'll probably be looking to retire after his next fight, which means his next opponent should be someone who can help promote this fight to be as big as possible. In this video, we'll be looking at potential opponents for Anthony Joshua and what's next for him. After seeing Anthony Joshua's performance, the whole heavyweight division is probably eyeing him up to get a chance at being one of his last opponents before he retires. He's one of the biggest names in the heavyweight division after building an illustrious career in the heavyweight scene, and of course that comes with the financial rewards of being the top man. It's arguable who the face of boxing is, but when it comes to the heavyweight division, the whole world knows who Anthony Joshua is. There's plenty of other champions, with the top heavyweight in the world being Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk is probably one of the best heavyweights to have ever competed, and after dominating the cruiser and heavyweight divisions, it's entirely possible that he will retire undefeated. He's 39 years old and he's basically done everything that he possibly could do in boxing, and he's already stated that he's on his way out. This fight, however, would be horrible to make. Joshua and Usyk have already fought each other twice, and both times Joshua came apart and lost. This was Joshua when he was closer to his prime and in peak condition. The Anthony Joshua that we have today is past this, whereas Usyk is in incredible form and is only retiring because he's run out of reasons to keep fighting. Usyk beat Joshua twice, and a third fight just wouldn't be competitive. The only reason the first 2 fights did well was because people knew Joshua was dangerous and they had belts on the line. Going into a third fight, I feel like the public would know that Joshua doesn't really have a chance, so it just wouldn't do well. It's not a fight that people would want to see. The next possible opponent would be WBO heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois. Now, Dubois just got done beating Fabio Wardley to win his world title in an all-action brawl, and with Anthony Joshua being ranked 5, this fight could actually be made. The thing is, this fight would be horrible for Anthony Joshua's health, and I understand that in boxing there's always a risk, but the risk to reward here just isn't good enough for Joshua to step in the ring with Dubois again. These two have already fought before in 2024 when Joshua was in good form. He had just knocked out Francis Ngannou, and people were confident that he'd be taking the title from Dubois. The result was shocking, with Joshua getting knocked down 4 times before being counted out on his last knockdown. He was thoroughly dismantled and wouldn't get back in the ring again for over a year. After this fight, Joshua was never the same again, having fought Jake Paul for a money fight. If Joshua and Dubois were to get in the ring again, I think most of us would be seriously concerned for Joshua's safety, and although the fight would sell because any Joshua fight does well, it wouldn't be worth it for him. It's clear that for Anthony Joshua, he needs a fight that can be competitive to his level and will still sell. This means he probably won't be able to face someone who's at world level because they'll probably just knock him out, but he should face someone who can make it a hard fight and can still sell the fight. One potential matchup could be with Rico Verhoeven. Rico just got done facing Usyk in a highly competitive fight which ended in a controversial stoppage in the later rounds. Much of the boxing community saw this as a tragic end to a great fight, and it's clear that people still want to see Verhoeven compete in boxing. Although Joshua is past his best, he's still a highly dangerous former world champion who's probably forgotten more in boxing than Rico has learned. A fight between these two would also do well because they are the faces of their sport, with Rico being the best heavyweight kickboxer of all time. This would also be a good fight to make because it would sell out due to both of their reputations, and Joshua also has a good chance of winning because although his durability is questionable, his technique and other attributes are still sharp enough to win. Another fight that could also be made is a rematch with Francis Ngannou. Now in their first fight, it was clear that Joshua's speed and sharpness were too much for Francis to deal with. Joshua was catching him in between his punches and managed to knock him out in 2 rounds. This fight, however, was 2 years ago, and it's clear that Joshua is nowhere near the level that he used to be. Francis could pull off the upset, and this fight would still be safe enough for Joshua to take. They both have big names, so it would definitely sell. Overall, these fights are great to make, but one fight stands out. Tyson Fury has been foaming at the mouth for a chance to get that big paycheck with Joshua, and I don't blame him. It's obvious that time is running out for this fight to be made because although Fury is still a competitive heavyweight, the curtains are closing on Joshua, and Fury won't have a chance to make this fight ever again. They've both had a long history of going at each other anywhere but in the ring since they both became champions, and a big domestic fight between these two would easily be fight of the year, but they never made it happen. Fury's ability to sell a fight is what led him to make millions, and it's clear that if he had an opportunity to do so with Joshua, they would both be set for life. I don't see Joshua being able to win this fight because Fury is technically too good for him, and Joshua's best chance at beating him would have been 5 to 10 years ago when he was still in his prime. With the form he's in now, he would be too slow and too easy for Fury to hit. I still think he should take this fight because the payout would be immense. They could do a press tour across the UK to promote the fight, and every spot they would go to would sell out. Out of all the possible fights we've talked about, I think this is the best one because the reality is Joshua is past his best and probably only has 1 or 2 good fights left. He should maximize his profits from what he has left, and the Fury fight provides the most financial gain. Let me know what you guys think of Anthony Joshua, and what do you think is next for him?